I'm titling this segment, What the FBI Has Learned from Jussie Smollett. Now, I want to convey sort of an insight that I had in putting two different themes in this podcast together. So, just recently, I had Darren Beatty from Revolver talking about how the FBI orchestrates these terror operations. They instigate them, they provide the means for them, and then they, quote, solve them. And of course, partly you can see are the FBI trying to make itself into the good guy. Look how great we are. We foiled the plot that we ourselves created. But you notice that they also do this to promote a narrative. And in the case of January 6th, if the FBI did in fact instigate January 6th, the narrative is, look, white supremacists are, that's the gravest danger faced by the country. This is what Christopher Wray, the FBI director, obtusely testified. It's been echoed by Merrick Garland and others. Now, so there you have one thing. Now I want to turn to what seems to be a completely different thing, and I've been talking about racial hoaxes on various high schools and campuses. And of course, the prototypical hoax was the Jussie Smollett hoax. But let's think about those hoaxes for a moment, because what are those hoaxes really doing? Well, what the hoaxes are really doing is trying to foster a false narrative. They're trying to prove a point when there is no evidence for it. So Jussie Smollett believes, these MAGA types are roaming America, causing havoc, going after people who are black and gay, beating them up. But he can't find anyone who's doing that. There are no actual MAGA people doing that, and so he goes, you know what? Let me pay two Nigerian guys to do it to me, and then I'll go to the press, and I'll kind of show the country what I believe is true, even though I can't find any evidence that it's true. So let me fake the evidence, let me create the evidence, let me, you may say, incite the incident, and then, quote, solve it. Because solve it in the sense of, here we go, I've identified the perpetrators by eyewitness testimony. I saw them, two white guys, in the middle of the 4 a.m. in the morning. Shouting Trump slogans. So what you see here is that the Jussie Smollett operation and the FBI operation, when you think about it, are the same operation. In both cases, what's going on is this an effort to manufacture evidence and create a narrative. It's a false narrative. Let's think about this for a minute. I don't have any problem, I don't think anyone does, with the FBI genuinely infiltrating terror plots. Let's say the FBI found out there's a plot going on. Okay, get your people into it, get your informants or get your operatives to penetrate the plot, observe the plot, record the plot, then right before the plot occurs, or maybe even in the process of having it appear, have the FBI show up, bust the plot, or prevent the plot from being carried out and hold accountable the perpetrators. That is completely different from a different situation, which I want to describe now. And the key question about January 6th is, was January 6th more like this second case than the first? Here's the second case. The FBI decides, let's pose as white supremacists. There may not actually be any white supremacists at the January 6th, but we will be the white supremacists. We'll show up. Let's organize the scheme. Let's plant the idea. Hey, guys, let's take the Capitol. And then when some of the guys go, well, I don't know how we're going to do that. It's well heavily guarded. No one can just walk into the Capitol. You basically say, well, here's how we do it. Here's how we can get around it. You motivate the people to do this. You tell them that you're right there. You're going to be helping them. You're going to supply them with the things that they lack. And then, in cooperating with them, you bust the scheme that you created. You establish the false narrative that wouldn't otherwise have been established. That's the key point. The FBI seems to have learned how to pull off these framing tactics and these lies going back to the Bush era. They did it to some of the radical Muslims. And many of us, myself included, at that time paid no notice. Why? Because we assumed that our guys with the sunglasses were the good guys. And then other guys named Abdullah and Abbas and Muhammad must be the bad guys. And now we find out that we were actually wrong. I mean, those guys might have had radical views, but they were kind of do-nothing losers. The FBI would put them up to it. supply them with the bombs, help them make bombs, and then bust them, solving problems that the FBI itself, in a sense, instigated. The key question here is that they wouldn't probably have done those things had it not been for the FBI that put them up to it. So the FBI, I'm coming to the view now, is from top to bottom a Jussie Smollett operation. It's kind of dismaying at a certain level that the top police agency in a free society, or largely free society, or a still perhaps free society, is so thoroughly corrupted that you cannot trust it to do anything. Our confidence in this agency literally needs to be at the point of zero. Believe nothing that they say. It's kind of the same as with the media. Don't believe anything they say, even if it's true. Why? Because there are so many lies intermixed with the truth that it's going to be too much trouble for you to disentangle the one from the other. When you're dealing with known liars, treat them as such. They're all a bunch of Jussie Smolletts.